The sound of breaking glass cut through the Christmas music like a gunshot. I looked up from wrapping ribbon to see my sister, Saffron, standing over what was left of the hand-painted jewelry box I'd spent 3 months creating for our mother. Shattered porcelain scattered across the hardwood floor like snow. "Oh no," Saffron said, her hand flying to her mouth in mock horror. "I'm so sorry, Landry. I was just admiring it and it slipped. These things are so fragile." My hands stopped moving. I stared at the wreckage. The delicate flowers I'd painted by hand, the music mechanism I'd installed myself, the tiny inscription inside that read, "For Mom, who taught me to create with love." 3 months of work, destroyed. And from the satisfied glint in Saffron's eyes, it wasn't an accident. "Accidents happen," Mom said from the couch, not even looking up from her phone. "Landry can make another one. She's so crafty." Saffron smiled at me, sweet as poisoned honey. "I feel terrible, but look on the bright side. At least my gift won't be overshadowed now." She gestured to the enormous box under the tree, professionally wrapped with a bow that probably cost more than my entire gift. That's when I knew. This wasn't an accident. It was sabotage. And I was done playing nice with my sister who lived on credit cards she couldn't afford while making me look cheap. "You're right," I said quietly, kneeling to pick up the pieces. "At least your gift will shine. Everyone will be so impressed." Saffron's smile widened, not hearing the steel in my voice. She had no idea what I'd found last week, or what I was about to do with it. "My name is Landry Keller, and I've spent 28 years being the other daughter. Saffron is 3 years older, devastatingly beautiful, and has been the center of my parents' universe since birth. Golden hair, perfect teeth, the kind of charisma that makes people forget you exist when she walks in the room. I'm the practical one, the quiet one. Brown hair, average looks, happier with a book than a party. I got good grades while Saffron got boyfriends. I saved money while Saffron spent it. I built a career while Saffron built an Instagram following. Our parents loved us both, they'd insist. They just loved Saffron more visibly. Every Christmas was the same. Saffron would arrive with extravagant gifts, professionally wrapped, expensive and showy. Mom and Dad would exclaim over her generosity, her taste, her thoughtfulness. I'd give handmade gifts, knitted scarves, painted frames, things I'd made with my own hands, putting in hours of work and genuine love. "How sweet," Mom would say, the way you'd compliment a child's macaroni art. "You're so creative, Landry." Then she'd return to admiring whatever expensive things Saffron had bought. It shouldn't have mattered. I was an adult with my own life, my own apartment, my own graphic design business that was actually profitable. I didn't need my parents' validation, but it still hurt. This year, I decided to make something truly special for Mom. A jewelry box hand-painted with forget-me-nots, her favorite flower. Inside, I'd installed a music mechanism that played her wedding song. It had taken 3 months of evenings and weekends, learning porcelain painting techniques from YouTube, finding the perfect music box mechanism, getting every detail right. It wasn't expensive, but it was priceless in the only way that mattered, the time and love I put into it. When I showed up at Mom's house on Christmas Eve to help prepare for tomorrow's celebration, I'd carefully placed it under the tree, wrapped in simple brown paper with a real forget-me-not pressed under the ribbon. Saffron had arrived an hour later with her massive box, already professionally wrapped. She barely glanced at my present before placing hers prominently in front, blocking mine from view. "Is that your gift?" she asked, pointing to my modest package. How quaint. I should have known then what she was planning. When the jewelry box shattered, I felt something inside me shatter too. Not just the gift, but the last thread of patience I had for my sister's need to always be superior. I cleaned up the pieces in silence while Saffron fluttered around expressing empty apologies. Mom had already lost interest, back to scrolling her phone. Dad was in the kitchen preparing his famous Christmas Eve chili, oblivious. "I'll make it up to you," Saffron said, her voice dripping with false sympathy. "Maybe I can give you money for supplies, say $50. $50 for 3 months of work? Don't worry about it," I said, dumping the fragments in the trash. At least your gift will definitely be the star of the show now. She beamed. You're such a good sport, Landry. That's why everyone loves you. After she swept off to help Dad in the kitchen, performing helpfulness for an audience of one, I took out my phone and opened the file I'd been debating whether to use. Last week, I'd been at Saffron's apartment helping her move a couch. Her laptop had been open on the kitchen counter, and when I'd moved it to set down my coffee, the screen had woken up. To her credit card statements. I shouldn't have looked, I knew that, but the numbers were so shocking they caught my eye before I could look away. $47,000 in credit card debt across 5 cards, all maxed, minimum payments overdue, collections notices. My sister, who posted Instagram photos of her lavish lifestyle, who constantly bragged about her expensive taste, who just bought another designer handbag last week, was drowning in debt. And I'd bet anything that massive present under the tree was bought on credit she couldn't afford. I took a picture. Just one. Told myself I'd never use it, but that was before she destroyed my gift on purpose. I pulled up the photo now, staring at those numbers. $47,000, more than I made in a year, all spent maintaining an image. I made a decision. Christmas morning dawned bright and cold. Our family gathered at my parents' house. Mom and Dad, Saffron and her boyfriend Quillen, me and my brother Thatcher with his wife Julep and their kids. The living room was warm and festive. Coffee brewing, cinnamon rolls baking, kids squeaking with excitement. Norman Rockwell couldn't have painted it better. We did stockings first, then breakfast, then finally gathered around the tree for presents. Saffron had dressed for the occasion in a cream cashmere sweater that probably cost more than my rent. She kept touching it, making sure people noticed. Quillen, her boyfriend of 6 months, looked uncomfortable in slacks and a button-down. He worked construction and was sweet, but clearly overwhelmed by my family's dynamics. Let's start with the kids, Mom suggested, and we watched my niece and nephew tear through their presents with the pure joy that makes Christmas worth it. Then adults' gifts. Dad opened a new tool set from Thatcher, Mom got a spa day package from Julep, I received a generic candle from my parents, the same candle they'd given me for the past 3 years. Then it was time for Mom's big gifts. Open Saffron's first, Mom said, eyes gleaming with anticipation. Saffron carried the enormous box over with a flourish. I wanted to get you something really special this year, Mom. You deserve it. Mom tore into the expensive wrapping. Inside was a designer handbag, the kind that cost thousands, the kind that came with its own dust bag and certificate of authenticity. Mom gasped. Saffron, this is too much. Nothing's too much for you, Mom. Saffron shot me a triumphant look. Everyone exclaimed over the bag. How expensive, how beautiful, how generous. That must have cost a fortune, Dad said, looking uncomfortable. Saffron has excellent taste, Mom said, already transferring items into her new bag. She inherited my eye for quality. Thatcher caught my eye. He looked sympathetic. He'd always known how the dynamic worked. What about Landry's gift? Quillen asked. Sweet guy. Didn't understand he should stay quiet. Oh, yes, Mom said, as if she'd forgotten. Where is it, Landry? I'm afraid it got broken, Saffron jumped in. Total accident. I feel terrible about it. That's okay, I said, standing up. I have something else. I walked to my bag and pulled out my laptop. My heart was pounding, but my hands were steady. Since my original gift was destroyed, I made a different kind of presentation. I thought the whole family might enjoy it. I opened my laptop and connected it to the TV. Dad had set it up for family photos earlier. Landry, what are you doing? Saffron's voice had a warning edge. Just sharing. You always say we should be more open as a family, right, Saffron? I pulled up a PowerPoint I'd made that morning. Title slide. The True Cost of Keeping Up Appearances, A Christmas Story. Saffron's face went white. Landry, don't! See, I learned something interesting recently about how people fund their lifestyles, about credit cards, about debt. The next slide showed Saffron's credit card statement, all 5 accounts, the balances, the interest rates, the missed payments. The room went silent. That handbag Mom is holding, I advanced to the next slide, showing the purchase, bought 3 days ago for $3,200 on a credit card that's already $12,000 over limit. That's why there are collections calls, Saffron. Where did you get this? Saffron was on her feet, her face scarlet. This is private. This is illegal. It was on your laptop screen, left open when I helped you move your couch. I took one picture, just one. I looked at her. I wasn't going to use it, but then you destroyed my gift on purpose to make yours look better. So I decided the family should know the truth about how you fund your generosity. Mom was staring at the handbag in her lap like it had turned into a snake. $47,000 in debt? It's not. I can explain. Can you? I advanced to the next slide, because here are the purchases for the last 6 months. Designer clothes, expensive dinners, that trip to Cabo you posted about, all on credit, all unpaid. Quillen was staring at Saffron like he'd never seen her before. You told me you had money saved. You said you were financially stable. I am. This is just temporary. Temporary? I showed another slide. These cards have been maxed out for 18 months. You're paying $900 a month just in interest. You're not paying down any principal. Dad's face had gone hard. Saffron, is this true? Landry is making it seem worse than it is. The numbers are right there, Thatcher said quietly. Jesus, Saffron, how did you let it get this bad? Saffron looked around the room, seeing judgment on every face. I just wanted nice things. I wanted to feel successful. Is that so wrong? It is when you're lying about it. It is when you're buying expensive gifts on credit you can't afford to make the rest of us look cheap. It is when you destroy someone else's gift to make yours shine brighter. You destroyed Landry's gift? Julep asked sharply. It was an accident. It wasn't, I said flatly. You've been sabotaging me for years, making me feel small for giving handmade gifts, calling me cheap, all while you're drowning in debt, pretending to be someone you're not. Mom was staring at the handbag in her lap like it had turned into a snake. You went into debt for this? I wanted you to be proud of me, Saffron said, and her voice cracked. You're always so impressed with expensive things. I just wanted to matter. So you spent money you don't have? At least I didn't humiliate my sister in front of the whole family, Saffron shouted at me. At least I didn't air her private financial business for everyone to judge. You humiliated yourself, I said. I just showed everyone the truth. Saffron left, grabbed her coat, ignored Quillen calling after her, and stormed out into the snow. Quillen followed after a moment, looking shock-chefed. The rest of us sat in uncomfortable silence. That was harsh, Landry, finally Mom said. Was it? More harsh than destroying my gift? More harsh than years of being made to feel like my handmade presents don't matter because they're not expensive enough? Mom had the grace to look uncomfortable. She's right, Thatcher said. Saffron's been getting away with this stuff for years because we let her, the golden child who can do no wrong. I didn't realize it was that bad, Mom said quietly, still holding the handbag. I thought she was just generous. She's generous with money she doesn't have, and she destroyed something I made with my own hands because it made her look bad by comparison. I'm done pretending that's okay. Dad cleared his throat. What are you going to do with those photos? Nothing. This was a one-time thing. I'm not posting them online or sending them to her employer. This was about honesty, not destruction. She's going to hate you, Julep observed. She already did. She just hid it better. Mom looked at me, really looked at me, maybe for the first time in years. I haven't been fair to you, have I? Always going on about Saffron's gifts, never appreciating what you made? No, I said honestly. You haven't. I'm sorry. She set down the handbag. Can you make me another jewelry box? I'll pay for the materials, and I promise to treasure it properly this time. Maybe, I said, after I decide if I want to keep doing Christmas with this family. That shocked them. Good. Saffron didn't speak to me for 3 months. Then she sent a text. I'm in therapy and credit counseling. You were a bitch, but you weren't wrong. I wrote back, I hope it helps. Merry Christmas. She didn't respond. Quillen broke up with her 2 weeks after Christmas, told her he couldn't be with someone who lied about something so fundamental. I felt bad for her, but not bad enough to apologize. Mom gave back the handbag. Saffron returned it for store credit. She's using it to pay down her debt, slowly. I did make Mom another jewelry box. It's not as elaborate as the first one, but it's beautiful. She keeps it on her dresser and actually uses it. She sends me pictures every time she opens it. My family is still dysfunctional, but they're more honest now, and I'm no longer the daughter who swallows her anger to keep the peace. Saffron destroyed my Christmas gift. I destroyed her carefully constructed image. Fair trade? Maybe not, but it was a long time coming.